Okay, so I'm here with Solomon Simon, currently running through Cage Warriors, all finishes. He had a decorated amateur career, but to get to where he is now, he had to start somewhere. So I want to thank you very much for your time. What led you to MMA, and when did you get in, why and how?
MMA started, I think I was 19, 20 at the time. My brother Sam and cousin OP, they were already doing it at that time period. So they were training away in, I think it was called Waterford MMA at the time, and that was good. He had a couple of fights in, and I remember I just went to the gym. It would come back home and start the usual big brother shit. Just start coming home and I'll be on the couch and he'll be trying shit on me, punching mainly. And I was, even at that point, it was funny enough, I hadn't gone in yet, but I enjoyed the grappling side of things a bit. Went to the gym with him, and I told Anto was the coach at the, Bobby was actually there as well, and Gaz, but Gaz was a fighter at that point. There's so much going on, but they went there, told the coach how long did it take him to have his first fight. I think it was 6 months or some shit, or maybe 8 months. And I was I'm gonna do it 2 months, do it quicker. That was my first training session. Trained for a bit during that summer, summer. I was 19 that summer, so I don't know what year it would have been. Did moved to Dublin then for college. That was my last year in Waterford. Came to Dublin 4 years, and in that 4 years, I was training under Ocean McCabe with DCU MMA. Eventually, now it's called Compound Martial Arts. So that was that time frame of starting. And even then, because I was injured as well, playing soccer, tore my ACL, destroyed my knee, whatever. So that was what I went in, then just boxing and kickboxing for a good bit. And eventually, after college, moved back to Waterford under Tim Ryan of Waterford, Bobby Mead, and Gaz is now the coach there. Gaz is also the coach there now. And that was when my first MMA fight happened. All before that, I was training away, done grappling, the whole shebang, but all the fights were all kickboxing and boxing then. And then when I moved to Waterford, that was when I made my amateur debut then, MMA was.
And obviously you had competed before, like you said, but what was it like going in and competing for the first time as an amateur MMA? Because this is where you had to put it all together, different facets. What was the emotions going into it? I would presume you were excited. You've been waiting a long time from what I've just heard to get in there. What was it like leading up to the fight, the emotions, the ups and downs, the mental side of things? Because I don't think it gets mentioned as much as it should. What's going through your mind fight week of your first fight? Yeah.
Believe it or not, the first MMA fight, cannot remember his name, but I know it was up north. I was very calm. I think that was the first time, I'm raging, I forgot his name, the commentator, Noel O'Keefe. That was the first time it was Solomon is a man going to the shop for a pint of milk, because I was just so chilled. And this is not because I'm a chill guy kind of thing. Before that, I've had let's say maybe, I think it was 10 and something, around 15 kickboxing fight, maybe around 6-7 boxing fight. So I've actually had time in the ring. The one that was bad was my first kickboxing fight, because I came in there thinking everything was going to be okay. The ref said, let's go. And it was just me swinging and just kicking around. That was where the nerves that was my first nervous experience of it. At that point, just with the experience and getting onto the MMA fight, it didn't feel as bad anymore. And I was just noticing you're actually better off being chill going in, not necessarily chill going in, because the nerves, all of that's still gonna be there. But when you're in there, the calmer you are, the clearer your mind is, and easier you make better decisions when you're in there. So actually wasn't as bad MMA was, but kickboxing was when the nerves was actually there. But the first MMA fight, I was actually pretty chill.
Yeah, because you obviously described there that you like the grappling side, and that's something that we've seen heavily within your game, and it's one of your strengths. And we all said when you went pro that was gonna be it was gonna be much better for you because that'd suit you more. But we'll get onto that later. As you went through your MMA career, what kind of fights stand out to you in amateur? There's a couple to me. Obviously, the Four Nations I think was kind of one of the turning points when we were okay, it's kind of time for him to go pro. But what kind of fights were important to you before that stage?
Yeah, I think the amateur starting out, the beginning phases of it, like a lot of it, I was still trying to discover myself a good bit, like because sometimes I'll be too calm, sometimes I rush in a bit too much, like all of those little things make it like it adds up, and experience all help. I think COVID like took out a big chunk. That was like for all of us, like that 2 year period. Like obviously I had to like make sure my mind is in the right place. I was still training away on whatever, but at that point I was like, okay, I need to actually start picking things up. Straight away after that was the fight outside of COVID was against Dara Kelly. Tough fight in the sense of like that it was I haven't had experience in like 2 years, and I was like, I need to fight. They were offering this one, and I didn't even know Dara at the time, believe it or not. Like, but after I fought him, like everyone was talking about him, I was like, oh wait, okay, maybe I should have thought about that a little bit more. But like, I beat him. Well, I wouldn't have given a shit. But like, that fight there was like a good like point for me in the sense like that was my first loss finish wise. Like, and I'm still alive. Not the end of the world kind of thing, but I was like straight after that, then jumped back in again. I think from that point on was when I started noticing big jumps in my game, or in my like I'm translating what I'm doing in the gym a good bit more into the fight. I think I fought Eric Mambo, then up north again. Really impressed with that fight for myself because I felt like I showed a bit more, defended takedowns, everything was going well. Again, jumped in, then I can't remember what fight was after, but I just know that time period was very good. I think I might have traveled to the Worlds or something in between, but all of this was in a space of like a year or two that I was just smashing in as much fights as I can, and then leading up then to the Four Nations. And that I was very happy with that for myself, because in my head I was like, I can't, like I know how good I am, and I need to go out there and show it. That all, if you notice with all the three fights or 2 fights that I had in that weekend, it was all I'm gonna just press forward, still be smart with it, but like I'm going forward to like implement myself on you. I'm not gonna wait to try see what you're gonna do and think of an answer to it or whatever. I'm like, you're answering to me throughout, and like it was a shot at really that whole weekend. Very happy. Went back down again when I came back to fighting Dennis, because like I just taking whatever fight I can to like get me to the level I want to get to in my head. Like Dennis fight was very good as well. Again, in that one I was just like, fucking, I'm just gonna fight. There was no tactics. It was just walk forward and swing at him. All good. I learned that don't do that, because it's just long term. Like it's not sustainable like tactic fighting wise. And this is where I'm like, this all balancing act is all where it's where I'm trying to figure all of this out. Because then in the Dennis one, I was like a bit too like going forward, trying to just go in. So then the next fight after that, I think was the Mario fight. And the Mario, I was like, okay, maybe I need to calm down a bit more. I was way too calm. I was like chilling on the outside for way too long, and then he came in and pushed me on the fence and whatever. And that was where like all of them, I'm like, okay. I've taken all I can from all of this now. Let's bring it to the pro side of things and then let it all work out. But I don't have necessarily like a specific fight I'll be like, this changed everything for me. Because every time I learn something, I'm like, that was good. Sometimes I end up messing up the next fight, like making the same mistake that I've made before. So, but overall, my whole amateur career was what got me to the point where I am in the pro game now. And it's working so far, so I'll take it.
Yeah, it is all the finishes as well, because like that, you talked about implementing your own game, and you find a lot of amateurs, especially nowadays, because there's so much footage on fighters, even at amateur, I think you should be focusing on yourself. I think people think too much about the other fighter as opposed to what you're going to do. Like you said, you started to implement your style, and that's when the success started coming, and especially in the Four Nations, because like you got plaudits from everyone. Everyone said it was probably the best performance overall the whole weekend. And we knew at that time it was probably time to turn pro. Would you, if an amateur fight was asked, would you say just implement your own game and don't worry about the opponent, because like that you've taken fights and wins and losses and you've learned everything from them?
Yeah, like on the amateur side of things, like you need to develop yourself as much as you can. Like you need to know what you're good at. You need to know how to do what you're good at in there and things like that. Obviously, I could see why you want to watch your opponent, because like everything, like where all the videos now, like there's endless videos, and you could end up getting paralyzed. I went through that point where I'm watching everything and I'm like, okay, he's doing this, and I'm trying to literally I'm trying to break him down to like a tiny detail that if he steps left, I'm gonna do this, that kind. You don't have time in there to be thinking that. A lot of time you're just in a flow state of just letting it work and letting your body just do what you know already. So army wise, for sure, I would like say that's a time for you to work on your skill set, work on what you're good at. What's your body type? Do you feel stronger when you're doing this? Do you feel better when you're grappling? Do you feel better when you're grappling? Where do you feel more comfortable? You need to discover all of that in the amateur side of things. Like, don't worry too much about him. Don't get me wrong, I won't be like, ignore him, or he's a jiu-jitsu black belt. Don't watch him, and then you just go take him down and get choked there. That's silly. But at the same time, work on your own, like work on developing your own game as much as possible in there and take advantage of the amateur side of things. Like, people, I think maybe because the notoriety, like the videos, they like, you just see clips everywhere. Everyone wants to be like, let's come to the pro, let's go have fun, let's go. There's no money really at the start, but that's a different conversation. But the people are rushing a bit too much. Take advantage of the amateur side of things, because it's really beneficial. Like everything I'm like achieving now, I accredit it to all the experiences I've had before. Like 4-0, but like I've had, as I'm close to like 30 something fights at this point, like actually close to 40 fights at this point, and that's years of graft to lead to that point. So take your time on the amateur side and like develop your skill sets.
Yeah, no, and that's true as well, because like that, you've had that many fights, you jumped in with these people, you felt the different bodies, different positions, different issues that might come up in the pro, and I think a lot of people do want to rush it because they think it's glitz and glamour, and it's not. It's not, and it's not all glitz and glamour, and like I said, it's not much money at the start, and even as you go into UFC, you see what they get. Reds are actually done an interview, I think he got $2,000 out of his 12 grand, so that's what he was left with. But like, throughout the amateur game, you done so well, and your style was obviously grapple heavy as well. Like you could use your hands, but did you feel in that time the 3-minute rounds were just too short for you to be able to advance your position? Because we've seen you come out the gates at pro, but did you feel that when you went pro that was going to suit you a lot more?
Yeah, like army wise, like I was striking a good bit on the army side of things. Like the grappling was more like defensively, like I was stuck a lot on there. Like so if if I try to start letting my hands go a little bit, like within a few seconds I'm getting shot on, and I'm not getting taken down necessarily, but I'm on the fence for maybe a minute. 3-minute rounds, like I've lost most of the round in that point. And then even at that, if I decide to actually engage in wrestling and like get someone down, again, not that much time to actually start working on stuff. So that transition, like in my mind, or like how my head works, I like taking my time to build stuff up. Sometimes people just don't let you do that, and like again, I have answers for that. And right, sometimes people don't let you do that. On the amateur side of things, they could implement that a lot more, like in the sense of like they could just rush you and like just eat away at the clock or whatever. On the pro side of things, I have a longer time to work with, but at the same time, I have different weapons now where you can't take the risk that you can in the arm. You can't just run in at me head in just because you want to pin me to the fence, because you will get hurt in between that. And now I have different weapons in the clinch whereby I could do a lot of damage with you. And that's like, if you the fight where Marco Sarachevy, don't know, I can't pronounce the second name, but I was on the fence a good bit, but I was the one cutting him because I had that weapon. Even with the last one, when they did push me up on the fence, I still ended up cutting him because I had those weapons. That changes things. You don't want to be pinning me on the fence now, and then you can't take me down. Now I could start implementing my own game. Now I have 5 minutes to start working my own things with you. So like, and I'm still only getting started. I'm still only getting used to this kind of thing now. So I definitely think it suits me better. But the biggest addition for me was for sure the extra time. The extra weapons really makes a difference, because now I could nullify a lot of the things that they're trying to do. So yeah, happy.
Yeah, because like that, especially at amateur, the cage is so small. You take 2 steps back and you're up against the cage. Like I said, they run in. Now you've got knees, you've got elbows. You've seen people go in to try and get to clamp their hands, and you can actually finish people with your elbows from that position. And I just kind of had a feeling once you went pro, like it was going to completely change. And like that, like you've come completely out the gates. Obviously, when you made your first professional debut, at Premier, Was there any different feelings than you've had before to the fights before, or was it all more the same, just knowing you had this extra time and extra addition, or was there anything there mentally, or was it just...
Yeah, I would say maybe after the fight, I could have thought maybe there was a bit more pressure than I thought there was. But leading up to it, again, similar with everything, like my mind was fairly clear. Like I did not feel like, like it's a fight. Like of course you're gonna feel a bit of nerves, but didn't feel that bad. I wasn't thinking about it too much either. I was trying not to get into my head as much as I could. Because like I'm bad for that. Like when I start thinking, like my brain is like a little, like there's so much thing goes on in there, and it's problematic in different ways. But like I tried not to think about it too much. So I think that was grand. I didn't feel crazy nervous. I didn't feel anything like, and it was near enough to my hometown. I had a big enough crowd there with like most of the people from Waterford, and then being like main events, like all of that kind of thing. But again, we've dealt with a little bit of that in the amateur side. But I didn't feel that much pressure. I'll say, I think it was grand. And like, it's been grand. Like the second fight, the third fight, the fourth fight, I'm surprised at how chill it's been, like in my head. Because as soon as like I step in, my music start playing, I'm gone. Now I'm like, let's go have fun kind of thing. So it's been good. I don't know what I think. I'll give credit to the experience for what it's done. But for sure, I think it's been chill. I haven't felt that much nerves with any of them so far. Not crazy nerves. Of course I've been nervous.
Yeah, no, but like I've talked to you loads of times, you're probably one of the most chill, nicest guys I know. You're just so, it is what it is. But like that, once Cage Warriors come calling, what's that like?
Yeah, first fight, fight was over, got back into the dressing room, like chilling, celebrating, and then Bobby was like, yeah, Cage Warriors want you on that fight in April. I was like, really? Like, and being honest with me, I wanted like a bit more time in between. In my head, I was thinking I have maybe 2 or 3 on the local regional scene and then go on to the big show kind of thing like that. So, but like the opportunity came in, I think Constantine was meant to fight at that point, but something happened and he couldn't fight, and like the opportunity came up. I was like, yeah, let's jump on. Took it. And from that point, obviously, it's been good. But again, I don't know, maybe it's just me in my head, but I'm trying not to think of it as big of it as it is. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm trying not to be like, oh, Cage Warriors this. And like, I rate, like, you know, like Cage, they're the best in Europe kind of thing like that. But I feel like if I put that pressure on myself, it forces me to try and do something that like is out of character for myself. So it was a great opportunity at the time, and I just took it in my stride as it came in. And when the fight that I did end up when that fight happened, then I felt like I was able to show myself a bit more again, because I wasn't like thinking of it as big of it is. Because I like looking at it, I think you hear those things sometimes, like, oh, like the UFC jitters or whatever, it's just for like the different place kind of thing. But I just think it's all in your head how you make that out to be, and how the vision you put in your head of what that is. Cage Warriors is massive, but in my head, I'm like, it's a cage. Like at the end of the day, everything that's happening outside of it, it's all good. But once we're in that cage, it's the same as the amateur side, it's the same as Cage Legacy, it's the same as Clan Wars, it's the same as Premier, it's the same as all of them, because like no one is coming in there to help me. The production significantly better, the staff a lot like more professional or whatever, but once I'm in that cage, it's still the same feeling. So I'm trying to focus on that as much as possible and not let my head make it all big, a lot bigger than it is, because that's when I feel like you start putting unnecessary pressure on yourself, and then you start making mistakes that you don't want to make, or you try to do something that's like out of character for yourself. You start like trying to show off in the sense of like, I need to get a mad finish, or I need to do a jumping tornado kick just to like cater to the show. You know what I'm trying to say? So yeah, it's good. I'm very grateful for the opportunity they've given me, and like so far, it's really allowed me to showcase myself a lot more, and it's definitely the best path for me to get to where I want to get to. So very happy so far.
Yeah, you seem a lot more free in there. You seem a lot, like you said, I like the fact that you say you don't put it on the pedestal, because when you give it that much respect, it becomes something, like you said, it is a big promotion, it is the best in Europe. But when you put it up there like that, it's like you said, it's going to make you think differently. Whereas when you get in the cage, this is your lifestyle. This is what you've done. This is what you've worked towards, and you've done quite well. Like you've come out the gates. This and these finishes are opening up for you rather than you trying to force it as well. And like obviously you got signed to a multi-fight deal. What was it like once kind of that happened then as well? I'd say like after they were happy with the first fight and then you get the multi-fight, is it like, ooh, like this is happening, or is it just again, okay, right, just to go fight some more?
Yeah, I literally looked at it, go, I think like go 5 fights or something like that, like go for your fights and just like, okay, boom, 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 this year, boom, 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 next year, this should get me to where I like, and it's like, it was a perfect, it just works out because it allows me now to be able to, I like having something to work towards, like not necessarily stuck with, I think I might have said this a few times before, but I'm not stuck with the like, oh, what I said out exactly like that has to happen. But now that I have that, it makes it a lot easier for me to make decisions day to day. Oh, this is what I want to do. You need to fucking get up and go to the gym. You need to get up and do your stretches. You need to get up and go for whatever it is you need to do. And that's because I have that, like that goal there or whatever, that path that I need to get to. It makes it easier to make decisions day by day to lead to that. So that's why that's there. So once that contract came in, those fights came in, now I'm like, okay, like if I could get 3 fights this time, get another 3 fights here, boom, boom, boom. That's this. I could see a path then because of that. So, and that's been good. Like got 2 fights last year. Like one so far, was it 2? Yeah, 3. No, 3 fights altogether. Like but 2 fights with them last year, and like 1 so far this year. And gonna try get, if I could push in for another 2, that would be perfect because now like it will be closer to the end of the year now. Okay, now we're after, and it's at that point, I don't know if my contract is up at that point or not, but it's really, it's set me up. It's put me in a really good position to make better. Like now, okay, I could make, I could go on to the next step now because I could plan out a lot better. So, but yeah, I was very happy with it, but it allowed me to make a decent plan, more visible plan. I could actually, because on the local scene, sometimes you might get a fight, sometimes you might not get a fight, but with them, especially in that featherweight division, like you're gonna get a fight. The killers everywhere, like, and all of them are looking for fights. So like, come true.
Yeah, it's a stacked division, and like you said, on the regional scene, it's usually lads coming in just to have one fight, and not necessarily that they don't want to go far, but they're trying to just get a fight to fight. And you've seen like shows with yourself that fights fall out all the time, especially at pro. To like Cage Legacy last week, he had 2 fights fall out, I think the week of.
My boy like Lois, like he was meant to make his pro debut on Clan Wars in January, I think, and it was like the week of the fight, or the like a week and something out, and I think it was a visa issue or something like that. But like that's just like that, and he's been training, like he's been cutting, he was cutting already and all that. So it's a loss, like safer to get, like it's just, there's a lot more opportunities like when it's a a big organization as well, like they have a lot more to pick from, you know what I mean? So yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah, and like that fighter's gonna want the fights. Like I said, that division is stacked. Everyone wants to go towards the title. With your last fight, or your last even 2 fights, your last one was obviously literally the buzzer beater. But when I was going into that and I was talking to one of the guys from Severe Wheelchair, we were looking at that fight and looking at your opponent and go, this is like a real kind of, whoever wins this fight is like, Joe, is going to get, I don't know if you're going to get pushed forward, but it was kind of like a real test for both of you because you both had decorated amateur careers. What was it like when there was 1 second left and that happened? Or did you even realise the time?
I like grappling wise, like, and I think that's his biggest really thing, like on the local scene, like grappling scene is well known. Even on the amateur side, I think good few finishes grappling wise, he's very good, like highly rated. But like just from, and this is why I'm saying my confidence in the grappling side of things is not because like, oh, I just feel like I'm good and whatever. It's like, I know who I'm trying, I know the people I'm training with, and I know how I feel against them, and I know the positions I'm good at. If I get on top of you, most of the time you're fucked. And that's what happened with all the fights. I wasn't even trying to necessarily get there. The fight got there, and once I'm on top, your options starts to get very limited. And the fact that I could actually strike you as well, because got on top, nearly past the guy, I started striking, he gave me the mount. I was striking from mount again, he gave me the back. I was like trying to choke him out, he came back to mount. Like everything that was happening there, all I had to do was just control him and like let him give me whatever I want. Like I wasn't forcing anything. And I heard the clapper at that point. got the once the hands went in, I was just I'm just gonna squeeze. Like it doesn't really matter at this point because I have the choice. It wasn't fully in, it was a little bit under his chin. The last second I squeezed a little bit more and I got it. But I wasn't necessarily like open to finishing before the round was over or whatever. At that point it's like my hand is here. The next step is to squeeze. And I was just squeezing. That was all. Like I wasn't thinking, oh, it's nearly over. Is whatever. I was like, okay, hands is in. Oh, I have my hands locked. Okay, let's finish it now. And yeah, lucky enough to because if I'm looking back, I feel like if he knew exactly it was 1 second left, like he probably would have held out that little bit longer. But look, I'm gonna take it. I'm not gonna complain about it.
Yeah, no, like I said, it was a fantastic win, and the way he described it was. You just fought, and when it opened up, and it just sounded like he kept turning into bad decision after bad decision, giving the back, giving mount, giving back. But like that, you're on this win streak, you're going forward. I feel like you could be potentially pushed. Like I said, if you get a couple more fights this year, who knows where the title lies. Like, that's obviously what you want. Do you have a number of fights do you think that you get before then? Because obviously with all these finishes, you're really highly thought of. Do you think you'll be pushed towards that soon with maybe 1 or 2 more finishes, or are you just going to keep fighting until they tell you it's time?
Yeah, like I would like to get another 2 fights this year, right? Like it will be a tight squeeze, like because my summer is like a bit booked off now, so I'm trying to squeeze those 2 in end of the year. If it's like September, December, or whatever way it is, and at that point there, like if I'm doing what I have in my head to do, that's the only option left. It's rather like my maybe not the next one, maybe the one after that being a title. That's me pushing it a bit. I'm chatting a bit there. But like realistically, 2 fights, do what I need to do in my head. That's the only option that there is there after that. Really, like, because I don't know. I expect like another tough opponent this next one coming in, and then do whatever I need to do with that one, and then another tough opponent coming in. But more and more and more, like I just want to keep being able to show what I'm doing, what I know I can do. I want to be able to keep bringing that in there. And every fight I've seen, like it is getting that much better. I'm getting better at my own game because like I said before, I want like with the Dennis fight, I thought like I was just a little bit too aggressive. With the Mario fight, I was a bit too calm. Trying to find a balance in between where I'm trying to hurt you, but at the same time I'm not being reckless. That's a game I'm trying to play, and I'm figuring it out fight by fight. The last 4 fights has been like a blessing. Like I've been able to show myself a lot more, and I think based on that trajectory, that's only adding to my confidence in my skill set, and I have evidence to back it up. Like I'm not chatting shit. Go back and look at it. I am doing what I'm saying. So when that is happening, that's just keeps bringing it up in my head, which means now I will keep on showing up a lot better again. So that like snowball effect is really starting to build, and I'm looking forward to see what I can do myself, because once I get in there at some point, like you're not thinking anymore, you're just like flowing and letting your body do like translate what you've been doing for the last 6, 8, 12 weeks, let it show up in there. So it's been good so far. Like a title will come. The only way that title will come is from me displaying my skill set as best as I can in there, and that's what I'm trying to do, and that's what I'm going to keep trying to do.
Yeah, and you've been doing it fantastically so far. It was like that, obviously, the way you're talking, it's like muscle memory. You know, you go in, you like, not that you're not game planning, but you know when he zigs to zag, stuff like that. And like you said, you credit that to all your amateur experience. Well, I can't wait to see what's next for you, what your next fight is. We're all excited to see what's next. I'm going to ask you one more question before we go. When it's all said and done, and someone says, Solomon Simon, what do you want to be remembered for? Or what word would you want associated, or sentence or phrase would you want associated with you?
I like the patience kind of thing, because like it's difficult to be calm in chaos. Like, so like if this is a calm thinking fighter, that's a good compliment, because I want to be able to, like, I really like, there's a lot of knowledge on fighting out there. There's a lot of like, you see breakdowns, you see so many things, like, and all of us, like, so many, the higher the level you go to, they're all very good at like they know what to, like, they know their defense and stuff, they know how to game plan, they're smart at what they're doing. but it's very, very difficult to translate that into the fight game itself. Like I really, really, really want to be able to do that. Like, so like if it's a case of like fight IQ or like just patience, or like I like just that patience and calm kind of thing, because I think it's difficult to do that. And if I'm known for doing that and being able to display my skill at a high level, but in like a calm, methodical way, I would like that. But like, it's not always going to be like that. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to be in a case of like, oh, he was one of the greatest fighters ever. He's one of this. Like, that's not... It's difficult because that changes from era to era. That changes from person to person. Like, definition of greatness is very subjective. But like, if people are willing to say that, like, it was calm in there, even when there's a war going on, there's everything going on, he was still able to think about the next move. He was still able to like make the correct decision, even when like he got rocked, he got dropped, his elbow, but he's still making the right decisions all the time. Like, that's very difficult to do, but I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to make the right decisions all the time. This is me asking for perfection, but if I could do that as much as possible, I'll take it. So yeah, that's good. I'll take that.
Yeah, because like you said, people probably look at, he's calm. It's not that easy when you're getting punched in the face, you're getting taken down, you're getting rocked, you're getting put in submissions. Be able to just sit there with a clear head and go, right, this is the next steps, and go forward. And you've been doing it beautifully so far. It's been a pleasure to talk to you today. I want to thank you so much. Thank you.
Appreciate that.